Bonjour, French 1. We are going to be covering the titles of various family members today for your notes. The nice thing about this vocabulary is that it's very easy to tell whether a word is masculine or feminine based on whether that family member is a boy or a girl. So unlike how it's kind of hard to remember whether a table, something that in the English language has no gender, is masculine or feminine, these should be pretty easy. Remember that I will pause after I say each family member title to give you a moment to repeat after me. Remember, when you pronounce them as well as writing it down, it definitely will help it stick in your brain a little bit more, so please do so. All right, so first things first, the actual word for family in French is la famille. And then here are some typical members of the family. Now remember, every person has various titles within their family. So on one hand, I'm a wife. On another hand, I'm a daughter to my parents. On another hand, I'm a sister to my brother. I could also be considered a cousin. I can also be considered an aunt. So it kind of depends on who's referring to the person as far as when you would have to use these titles. All right, so first we have the word for wife, which is actually the same as the word for woman. It is la femme. The word for husband is le mari. The word for parents are les parents. The word for father is le père. The word for mother is la mère. If those parents have a child, they have either un enfant, if it's a boy child, or une enfant, if it's a girl child. If it's a boy child, you would typically call that le fils, the son. If it's a girl, you would say la fille for daughter. Le frère is brother. If you think of the word fraternity, fraternities are made up of brothers. It starts with an FR. It might help you remember that. And la sœur is sister. And again, the word sorority starts with an SO, so that might help you keep those straight. Nowadays, there's definitely the potential of having a blended family due to the fact that a person might be divorcé and perhaps remarié, which are, of course, divorced and remarried. These are describing words, so the reason why you have an E in parentheses here is if you have a woman who is divorced, she is divorcée with the extra E. If you have a woman who is remarried, you need that extra E as well, so keep that in mind. If there has been a divorce and remarriage in a family, you will often have the following family members. Things like a beau-père, which is a stepdad, or la belle-mère, which is a stepmom, which, yes, literally those translate to handsome father and beautiful mother. And as a stepmom myself, I don't mind that term at all, but that just happens to be what they call their stepmother and father. I don't know why we use the word step and they use the word beautiful, but that's kind of how it goes. The next two actually translate word for word. Le demi-frère is a half-brother or stepbrother. I know there is a difference, but in French they use the word demi-frère either way. Or la demi-sœur is a half or a step sister. These two letters are kind of squished together, and that's kind of typical when you have that OE combination in French. If you can remember to do that, that would be great. It just kind of makes that different pronunciation whenever a French person says it. But if you forget, no big deal. All right, when you go to your parents' parents, you end up with the grandparents and all of the things that go along with that. So first we have les grands-parents, which are, of course, grandparents. You have la grand-mère, which is grandma or grandmother. Le grand-père, which is grandpa or grandfather. This is a little bit different. They don't use the word grand with the kids, though, so it kind of makes sense. We say grandma, grandpa. They use grand-mère, grand-père. But when it comes to grandkids, they call them petit, because if you think about it, petit is the opposite of grand. And when you're thinking about a family tree, your grandparents are at the top, and then the grandkids are all the way down at the bottom on the shorter end of things. Either way, they don't use grands enfants or grand fille or grand fils. It doesn't work like it does in English. For grandchildren in French, it's petits enfants. And then if you want to go granddaughter and grandson, you would combine the word petit with the words for daughter and son, and you would get la petite fille and le petit fils. So be careful with those. Another thing that happens in families is your mother and father's brothers and sisters are your uncles and your aunties. So folks, for the word for uncle, l'oncle. The word for auntie is your tante. Cousin has two different versions. If it's a boy cousin, it's le cousin without the E on it. If it's a girl cousin, it's la cousine. And you do put that E on it. Another thing that happens is whenever those brothers and sisters have kids, if you have brothers and sisters that have kids, you might have a neveu, which is a nephew, or a nièce, which is a niece. They are going to go ahead and list a couple of pets because some people consider pets to be part of their family. They are giving you le chat, which is the cat, and le chien, which is a dog. Make sure you bring these notes back with you to class and any questions you may have.